Hey, there's the opening crack.
The double.
Love it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, guys.
It's a foamer. Oh, man.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Well, it's
It
time
didn't explode. It's okay.
for another episode of Bards and Barrels. Tonight is a mailbag.
Woo!
Fellas, are you excited?
No.
Always excited.
It's
always
always a
nervous.
good
I'm never excited about
It's
these. I
always
am,
a
but
good
I'm not.
time. I mean, it's gotten to the point where Phil even suggested tonight that you guys need to bring questions to randomly throw in here. That's what we've gotten to. It's not that bad, is it?
We might make them up
No.
on the fly.
It's not, but I just want to, like, flip the roles one time.
That's fine. I completely get it. It's a little too much power, apparently.
He admits it.
Yeah, it's whatever. Anyway, I'm Ross.
First
Along
step.
with me tonight, Phil and Brett, of
Hey.
course, for this mailbag episode. And let's dive right in. Let's start with a question that has multiple questions, because why not, right?
Gosh,
here we
come
go.
on, Ross.
Hey, Hive Mind, I've got a few questions about what you tell your players and what you keep hidden. I'm just going to break this down. I'm not going to give you the whole question. We'll just go one by one. How about that?
Okay.
So, first question, what do you tell your players off the bat about weapons and armor? If they find and equip a +1 greatsword, do you tell them outright that it's a +1? Or do you wait until they focus on it during a rest and tell them then?
Well, damn.
Typically, we tell them +1. Like it's a +1 sword or something like that. But if it's like a magical weapon, like if it's imbued with something or something along those lines, sometimes that gets held back.
I usually at least require like an Arcana check or something for that, but
Sure.
I definitely feel like I just give a bunch of information away most of the time, and instead should
Oh, yeah.
require more.
That's how we all have magical weapons and are way OP'd in our...
Yeah, I've admitted mistakes have been made. Okay, we all
Power
know.
creep is real.
I mean, I get it though, like to a certain extent, is like if you have like a really good sword that's maybe not super magical by any means, but has some hidden attributes, like you don't want people to just gloss that over though either.
Well, and I also think it depends probably who your party members are, because if you have a fighter and they're like looking over weapons, they're going to be more familiar with weapons to identify like a sword that looks better, right, or of a higher quality or better craftsmanship than
Sure.
your normal sword. So I think in those instances, like that character probably knows.
Sure.
So on the flip side of that, what about a barbarian picking up a magical longsword or something like that? Where the barbarian wouldn't necessarily know squat
True.
about magic.
Sure.
I think that's a fun. I feel like we should be doing that more often. Like I think that's fun to play.
So here's the hard thing though, at higher levels though, like we all have weapons. Like it's good to know, like, is this a weapon that I actually need to keep? Is it better than what I'm carrying now? Because
You've got to drop some hints.
Sure,
I would
yeah,
say. Like
sure.
you need to say it's more than just
Right.
a pile of swords.
Sure.
Yeah, even the barbarian, I feel like maybe when he went to pick it up or something, could feel like something
Makes
and
sense.
not know anything about it.
There's a buzz with it.
Yeah, and even
Yeah.
just be like, oh, I don't want this, right? Like it's handed off to someone else. It doesn't feel right, kind of a thing.
Sure.
And then to that, I feel like to this question's point, go somewhere where someone can identify it if no one in the party could. Take it into a city,
Yeah.
get it appraised.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, next question that this person has is what roles do you ask players to do openly in front of everyone? I think this is interesting because at least when I DM, the players make all their roles in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So,
I think the only time that I wouldn't is if they were trying to do something intentionally they didn't want the rest of the party to know about. Or if I didn't want the rest of the party to know that something was
that's
happening.
what I'm thinking, yeah.
Or the homebrew rule that we've talked about before, where you roll death saves privately.
Ooh. Yeah, we also haven't gone into death saves, but I do remember
Hey,
that.
last
coming
session was
up. It was close.
We
That's
were
true.
close.
Freaking power word kill. Actually, I think this is something that we may not do a lot, but it's certainly built into pretty much every platform in the form of whisper rolls.
Mhm.
So a
Yep.
DM can ask you to do that or whatever the case. I kind of wish we would do it more, just because I like the idea of role playing like you have your own agenda.
I feel like there are certain things I do that could warrant this that I just call for a role that only one person knows about. Like thinking of Matt's character, right? Transforming into the werebear. Because I just asked him for a role, and instead of just asking in front of the table, like I should message him just to do it privately.
Sure. Yeah.
Like you guys still don't know what it was at the time. He was just doing a random role.
Right.
But in essence, that's kind of the same thing.
That's actually a really good example, because now that we know what it is, it would be more fun for it to happen like without us knowing that it's going to happen.
Exactly.
Just hear the roll of dice, and then all of a sudden freaking erupts into his bear form. That would be awesome. Actually.
And that's one advantage of having a virtual tabletop and playing remotely.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sitting around a table, you would have to do things differently.
Sure. I think they would have to come
regard.
behind the screen and roll. Like you would just have them come over to you and roll behind the screen. Or you could set up an area with another screen and say, go roll there, and then tell me what you rolled.
We have to go into another room.
You could do like what Dungeons and Daddies do, and they just make everyone else leave the room except for the one person, and like could do something like that.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll probably do that at some point anyway.
Yep.
Okay, transversely then, do you openly roll anything, or is it all behind the screen for you as the DM?
Mostly behind the screen. I think really big rolls can be done in front. And it's like, here, if you are risking everything, put it out in front of the table and like let it roll.
That's fair. Like that's something that high stakes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And it only in the circumstances where you are okay with having it go bad.
Sure,
yeah.
Like if you're going to fudge the roll, of course, keep that behind the screen. But if you're okay and the table's okay with the outcome, if it goes poorly, let it roll.
Yeah.
I like that. I think of like situations like arguments where it's just like your charisma versus my charisma. Whoever rolls highest, let's do it that way.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Or something like that. That would be fun to do out there. Combat, I am not one to kill my players, or I just want to give them a challenge. So I'll fudge rolls based on the flow of the combat.
Sure.
And you never really know it because it's just another round that we went in because I saved you from creating you and combat being over or something like that, right? So,
I think I like that approach. I think like probably not in combat. I don't see myself really doing it in combat unless your combat got to like this apex moment of, I think of like when you guys were trying to redeem Zariel, right? If she, that would have been a contested role between what Ari did versus her. Like that is something, even if we were sort of in the pseudo combat, that's almost a role playing moment where I feel like stakes are high. Let's roll these 2 dice and see what happens, right? Like that would have been a good example for that. But yeah, just a standard round of combat, probably not.
No, you kind of lose the mystique of it if you do it too much.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, let's go on to the next question. What is the craziest thing that has happened in one of your games? I love this because this is a chance for us to do some genuflecting.
Like great, so many choices.
I always enjoyed Ari getting struck by lightning. That was fun.
That was fun. I love rolling that many dice at once.
I also love, was Tic Tac your character? Was it not Tic Tac? What was the name?
Tick Cha.
Sacrificing himself.
Yep.
I guess that wasn't. What was it? How was this question phrased? Craziest thing. That wasn't crazy, but it was certainly probably the most impactful moment of that campaign when he sacrificed himself at the end of Flight of Xeraxis. Like that was like probably the closest thing to like a tearjerker moment. Because we kind of passed the ball around to who was going to do it, and then not really knowing what was going to happen, and then it happened, and then it was like, holy crap. It was a good moment.
My favorite things are the slow burns. Like it takes multiple sessions to set this up, and nobody else at the table knows it's going down, and then finally the payoff comes through. And
does that have to do with this damn doll that you have?
I cannot say, I cannot confirm or deny.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't.
I don't, which is probably more scary. I was trying to find in the Light of Xeraxis campaign. At one point, we were in like a Colosseum type battle, and it had something to do with shooting something up the ass. And like, do you remember that? It was the most ridiculous. and I can't think of what the whole thing was.
There was like a creature in there. And I think it may have been. I think I did the shooting. Like I hopped up on Murgie's back and shot the thing in the ass. I remember that was.
I have
that
notes on
was
it somewhere. I'll have to dig it out.
Or putting the immovable rod inside the mouth of a dragon.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's always a good one.
That was a good one.
The immovable rod always causes chaos, no matter where it goes or what it does. I love it. Anything else? Any other crazy moments that have popped out?
I mean, there was the time that, Brett's character basically, like, TPK'd the whole party.
Jesus Christ. Like, not even 2 sessions into, like, us all playing together.
There's kind of a theme here. It's like, somebody's going to die when my characters are around.
It gets pretty damn
Could
close.
be me, could be everybody else.
Rhodey finished Brutus with a laser bolt up the bunghole.
Yes,
there
it was
is.
Rhodey. Yes. That was such a fun campaign. Okay, so speaking of that, there'll actually be a question probably at some point tonight about a Spelljammer helm showing up. So brace yourselves for that. Somebody, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, brush up on your lighters or axes.
Like, I didn't bring that book. Okay.
Okay, next question. First time DM here. I could use some advice. I'm having trouble dealing damage to one of my players who is a level 3. Here's the situation. His AC is consistently 19 due to the following combination. 10 is a base, +3 from Mage Armor, +3 from his Dex modifier, +3 from Blade Song, so he must be an elf to have the Blade Song.
Okay.
And then goes, whenever I manage to hit with a 19 or a natural 20, he then uses a reaction to cast Shield, bumping his AC to 24. Because of this, he hasn't taken a single point of damage since the start of this campaign.
First thing I was thinking is you need to start throwing creatures or mobs or something that have multi-attack, because you can only use 1 reaction per turn.
Yep.
So I guess I'd have to look at the rules of Shield, though. Is it good for a full turn? Let me look at Shield.
So the interesting thing here is I think you need to keep hitting this player, because Mage Armor and Blade Song both have to be cast. I think one's a bonus action, one's a reaction. So eventually you're going to run out of, and I don't think either one of them are cantrips. So I think at some point you're going to run out of spell slots. At level 3, you're going to run out of spell slots. So keep punching and you'll get there eventually.
So they're casting Mage Armor, and is it Shield, or what was the second one?
Because they're level 3 elf, I'm assuming. I think that's,
yeah.
they get that Blade Song, so they get a +3 to their AC.
And that's just constant. It's like
It's for a minute, but they have to cast it. I'm pretty sure. We can look that up.
Should check. That's a lot of casting in a turn.
One is a bonus action, one's a reaction. So you technically would be able to do that in a turn.
I was just looking up to see if Mage Armor required concentration, but it does not.
It does not. Okay, so that if they did both require concentration, that would be an easy fix for that. But I mean, either way, with the casting, if you keep punching, you can at least get them down to a 13.
That bonus
13 base
AC is good until the start of their next turn too. So, yeah, I mean, hit harder. I don't know.
I mean, if you're a relatively new DM, he said he's a first team. They said they're a first time DM.
Okay.
So it could be one of those, I don't want to hit the same player multiple rounds in a row because that seems weird and picking on somebody. But the reality is, if they're in freaking 19 base, keep punching.
Well, you have to think too. So a lot of it depends, obviously, like what type of creatures they're coming up against or whatnot. But a lot of them are intelligent beings, so they would potentially be able to suss out like who is the most. Like, if they're shooting someone and they're not taking damage, communicate that to the rest of the group to focus on that person, right? Like,
Sure.
They can be strategic.
Sure.
They don't have to, be nice, right? Like,
Right.
Or find environmental things maybe that can throw that character off. Like, put them at a disadvantage somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
For sure.
Blow them off a cliff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's ways to damage characters without, or like remove them from a battle.
Strike them with lightning.
Yeah.
You know what I love is, like, we've come so far in playing and just doing this show that they didn't say what the race and class was, but we pretty much narrowed it down that this is a elf mage of some sort, more than likely. Yeah. Congrats to us, guys. Congrats to us. That's pretty. Anyway, TLDR, keep punching that person.
Yeah,
you'll
burn
get
through
to
those
eventually.
spell slots.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
You'll get to them eventually. Next question. Something happened in my last game that caused a TPK, and I'm arguing with the DM over a choice he made. So I want to ask you guys this. The group were fighting a monster, and it had a recharge of an area of effect spell. Okay, that was pretty much Fireball. Okay, so long story short, this is homebrew, so I'll try to decipher this as I go. I apologize. But basically, TPK happened because the bad guy cast this fireball type spell, but they were stunned. If the monster is stunned, should it be able to skip over it? It should have been able to. It should have skipped over its turn, but he's still using his ability to cause party wipe? ? Sorry, that was long and convoluted.
Yeah,
So-
okay, let's repeat that one more time.
Jesus Christ.
The short version.
So, big bad evil guy in this situation is stunned, but still took an action to cast this spell, which caused a TPK. My understanding is the stun condition also means that they're incapacitated. If you're incapacitated, you can't take an action. So if they did anything with their turn, that's probably not acceptable.
I feel like I had a heads up on this one. I actually read this yesterday.
What?
I did, and I
You read the doc?
no. I read this.
Oh,
post.
you read that?
I actually
Okay.
saw this post yesterday because I thought through this. I'm like, wow, like how would I handle this, or like how? So I've actually thought about this one a little bit. The short answer is that technically the DM can do whatever they want. However, yeah, a stunned character shouldn't be able to roll a recharge, and even if they rolled the recharge and they got it, they still shouldn't be able to use that action
Sure.
because they're incapacitated.
Yeah, it can't take actions or reactions.
Nope. They automatically fail saving throws.
Yes.
Are we good on this one?
Oh,
I want to go back for a minute.
Okay,
yeah,
I had one
Yeah, yeah,
caveat
yeah,
to
go,
this
yeah,
though, is that you're arguing your argument here on the stunning is based on like you said, DM can do what they want, but also that's based on rules as written. Once you get into homebrew land and assuming like these are made up spells that you guys are coming up with, that completely changes the game in a lot of ways. I feel like.
Yeah, like I definitely gave someone power word kill last time we played that can't even cast magic, right? Like, and that's where we're at this point in the game. But do I think that maybe that was not appropriate? I don't really know because I don't know your table. Would I do that? No, I probably wouldn't do that, but that's me as a DM.
Okay, let's back up.
Yes,
So I'm
Brad.
fixated on this list 19 armor class from the last question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the math right? Did you check the math?
No, I haven't checked the math,
Oh.
but I found a workaround.
Okay.
Ooh.
Silence.
Oh.
If you have a
nice.
some sort of wizard cast silence, it would block the shield spell.
Yep.
At least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shield has a verbal.
Yeah, and the shield is a
That's
plus five.
+5
So
until the
that
next
That
changes-
turn.
really drops
yeah.
them down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Boy, that just goes back to if you can cast silence on a wizard, you can really F them up.
Oh yeah, they
That's
become very squishy.
Such a good counterattack.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, next question. This one's another more open-ended one. We could use some advice. We just had session 10 of our weekly game, a homebrew world that I'm DMing and creating. I took some time before the game to ask the players if they were enjoying the world and the plot so far. Overall, comments were good, but two of the younger players thought it was going to be more fun. They mentioned a podcast, I won't mention the name, and want it to be more like that. I listened to a few episodes of their live play, definitely not my style. I wasn't envisioning our game to be like the Three Stooges with obnoxious jokes. I don't want to take the attitude of an I'm the DM and what I say goes, but this world that I'm building has a darker theme. Help. I feel like that's something that could have been sorted out in a session 0.
That's a session 0 problem. Yeah.
But it's also not too late to have a session 0 again.
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
Like it sounds like they just, as a group, right? That party needs to meet. Not outside of a normal game session, have a session 0 and say like, hey, I've been doing this planning. Here is the world. Like, here's where things are going. It is a darker theme. And, if that's not what everyone is there for, that's okay. And there's no hard feelings and they can find a different game and that's okay. Like, I think you kind of have to get to a point where that would be okay. I mean, everyone's play style is different.
I think you need to be open to changing what you're planning on doing as the DM too. Like, don't be too set on railroading, but also a dark campaign can't be dark the entire time.
True.
Oh, yeah.
There has to be some light-heartedness
Mm-hmm.
to really make the dark spots dark.
Yeah.
Agreed.
that's
You have to
true.
have an opposite to balance it out.
Yeah. You have to be a sassy little tabaxi right to Strahd's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how'd that turn out for you?
Not great.
He doesn't know about that yet, but he'll find
Not
out soon.
great.
In his defense, you missed a session, so that was your punishment for missing the session.
It's fair. It's not ideal, but it'll be okay.
I at least gave you a way out. You're
It's
good.
true.
Okay, next question. Hello, I have a group of roughly 15 people that I DM for regularly. Strangers tell me I'm a good GM. My players think I should do it professionally. I get lots of compliments. What's worse, I kind of believe them. What I'm not achieving as a GM is I'm struggling to leave an emotional impact on players. What do you do to better help impact on your players emotionally? Do you give them the freedom to play, to be afraid, to experience something different, or what?
That's a really hard question.
I think that's something that's very hard to do in, I assume this is homebrew. I guess they really didn't say. If you're in a module or in a one-shot, it's really hard to do that because you haven't built connections. Everything's so passive. Like you're coming across this person who just died in the street. Well, you don't care about them. You haven't played with these characters long enough to care if somebody dies off. Once you've played with a group for 3 to 4 years, doesn't necessarily have to be that, but you develop ties like that eventually become more impactful when anything happens.
I think you need to give the players liberty to develop the world.
Yes.
Like if they're not affecting the world and they're just, it's kind of like a video game. If you are forced to go down this path, it's kind of boring. It can be kind of boring. But if you are more of a more open world and the players choose where to go, then they get a little bit more entwined into what is going on. It's choose your own adventure.
Go ahead.
I think some of it too can be controlled a little bit or suggested a little bit through things like Brett was talking about, as far as creating balance between like a darker campaign and some comedic relief. Or like I know a lot of times we try to incorporate, some form of sound, right? Potentially too, which can like heighten
That's
senses,
huge.
like
Huge.
things. And it doesn't have to be complex, right? Like sometimes you just look up something on YouTube that fits a theme, that you're looking for. You're
And
trying
just
to
background
create.
music.
Yeah, like are you in a pub, right? Look something up, get them in that mindset. Increase the intensity of the music, right? To make it a tense point, like get them on their toes, and then someone, busts the door down, right? And then people like jump back.
It adds depth to your world.
It does.
It really immerses you in it, which changes the dynamic.
Which also, I think, don't be afraid to go on side quests.
True.
Sure.
Side quests can give you that freedom to let the players have a little bit more freedom than they typically would have if you're going down your main story arc, but they don't need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I really liked your point, Brett, about like letting the players create their own connections and letting that play out and develop, because it's like when you about TPK'd us in that dungeon, I don't know if I would have cared if any of us had died. We were 2 sessions in. I didn't even know my own character at that point very well. But now we are, 3, 4 years? I don't even know how long we're down the road are we? At least 3 years down the road. I feel like 2 things would happen if any of us died. 1, Phil, as the DM, would give us a very fitting, very climactic end. And 2, like, I truly feel like each of you in character are like brothers to me. Like we've literally been through hell and back.
Yep.
And even though we irritate the hell out of each other, I think any of us would do anything to help the other one. So if somebody died, that would be intense.
I think that was evidenced, right, by Everdash. Matt's character, was that last session, 2 sessions ago, where like Thorn's been a little out of character, and like Everdash, which kind of rough character for the most part, but like
not very emotional,
not super emotional, but he's like, hey,
calling me out,
like, are you good? Like, you seem off, right? And like that level of care of Everdash with Thorn is like, that has taken years to cultivate.
Totally.
So.
And especially, and like rough, but extremely passive to like the world around him. Like he's that brooding guy that really doesn't give a shit. But he apparently notices,
and it was a cool ass moment. Like it was
really cool
it was so well played.
That's still top 10 moments for sure. Probably top 5.
But also, 15 players.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I can't imagine.
Woo.
Well, and it's hard to okay. Going back to being immersed, how do you immerse? Like a combat alone would be such a freaking slob.
I don't think they could be all there at one time. So it's probably a rotating cast at the
Sure.
table. But then you don't necessarily have the same people week to week.
Yeah.
Sure. Again, hard to build connections.
Yeah.
There.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
People coming
true.
in and out.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's I like that question though.
Well, I'm trying to think like how
There's
you could
layers to it.
how you could build villains instead, because they could come up against similar
Sure.
villains, and then that is maybe how you could establish those connections.
I mean, that could be like a think like superheroes, right? So it's like Batman never killed the Joker, so there's a relationship that evolves there,
Yes.
even though they're on opposite sides. So like then you build moments with that, right? If he kills Vicky Vale or whatever.
And if you have multiple groups within the same campaign, they could be each going after a different member of a cult. And they're like you're working your way up to the up through the hierarchy of the cult as a collective.
Sure. I think another way you could do it would be to like demonstrate it. So like if you want your players to feel intense moments, create one. Like
True.
have an NPC die and have another NPC react, not violently, but intensely over
Yes.
something that happens there, and then really demonstrate to your players like what could happen. People change when things happen. Like demonstrate that,
Mhm.
and then see what they do when something happens to them.
That's a good idea.
So, anything else on that one? Okay, let's keep going.
That one got us going.
That did. That was a good one.
I know.
Okay, if a demon dies in Faerun and is banished to the abyss for 100 years, does it mean they can't leave the abyss at all, or can they not go to Faerun for 100 years? But other planes are fine? Question mark. I don't know the exact answer to this. I feel like this is a Percy Jackson-esque question because the three of us have read those books. But I'm like, if you get banished to the abyss, you are there, kinda. I feel like there's essences, but you're not really able to influence or do anything if you leave the abyss, to me. You can whisper in somebody's ear or show your presence, but you can't truly affect any other world because you are a mere piece of what you were, kind of thing.
And it really depends on your or the whatever creature you banish there, their power.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
what level of devil are they?
Oh yeah, if we're talking an imp, I think an imp dies outright. To me,
Yeah.
they're reborn somewhere.
They
and
get
don't
eaten
remember.
underneath
Yep.
in the abyss.
Totally.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out but what happens if they're summoned?
If they're summoned back,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's different because like if you're doing like a ritual spell and you're summoning them back, then they come back in their actual form. Then
Right.
So he's not really. I guess the
That
question
seems like
would
a
be,
counter. That seems like a counter spell to banishment.
Almost would
Yeah.
be in essence.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at too.
But I think once again, you basically have to have like a cult or something, right? That like followed that demon. They'd have to have enough
Right.
power, and obviously, if you banish
It would
them,
not be easy.
No,
No,
I
nor
agree.
should it be.
Mm-mm.
I'm thinking there's
But
some,
as a DM, if you need to bring one back,
you can find a way. I think there's some information missing from that because it would be good if we're talking about like an archdemon or a pit fiend. I feel like their presence or a god should be easier to bring back or easier to feel the presence than any random devil that you killed in the streets, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
There has to be some
devils
sort of
or
something.
demons.
He said demon.
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming both can be banished to the pit. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
At
But
this point, Phil, we've
Demons go back to the abyss. Devils would not,
Oh,
right?
see, I guess
Because they're the
I
nine
didn't
hells
realize that.
instead.
Okay.
They're different.
Oh shit.
I know. A
But
pit
just-
fiend is a devil. It's not a demon. So
How does this make any sense?
Everything in
Jesus
Avernus.
I
gets
just say
murky for
no
me.
just
sense.
for all the people out there who are going to call us out, I'm going on the record saying we do know there's a difference.
I also feel like we've homebrewed enough shit that like I'm getting like what
I
we
know.
do confused with like what is actually written in places. I was like, oh my god. Okay, well, let's move on from that one. I have a player playing a cleric who would rather be a paladin. I'm fine with the switch, but I want to incorporate it somehow into the story. The party's entered Baldur's Gate. His deity is Tyr. I told him he needs to pick an oath to be prepared, but I was thinking along the lines that Tyr wants him to go into a run-down tomb, where I was going to run something like a crypt from Skyrim, where they fight through a couple waves of skeletons, maybe some undead, with a boss at the end, puzzle door, something. Thoughts on this? Is it effective or is it too much? Question mark. I don't know why I'm saying question mark at the end of these.
So we know that you're done.
Yeah, there you go.
Is this your backstory?
Yeah, I'm like,
This is not my backstory.
You
Just-
should answer this question.
I did not switch. first of all, you're the DM. You do whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
that's how you want this person to make the switch. Go for it. Fine. I also think you could work in a conversation with Tyr, and Tyr just makes it happen because there also is going to need to be a switch somehow from a wisdom base for your spells to a charisma base. So how are you
Doesn't
going
have to be.
Yeah, but I think you should. If you're allowing somebody to switch, I think you should give them the opportunity. To
Yeah,
change.
absolutely.
But then you got to figure out a way to write that in.
Yeah,
So it's
because if they've also like leaned their character into wisdom at this point, because that was
Correct.
their spellcasting modifier.
Correct.
So
especially if it's early,
Yeah.
give them an opportunity.
That was what I was going to bring up. Is how does this affect the decision if it's like a brand new character, like 2 or 3 sessions in, versus like you've been playing this one for 3 years
Right.
and then want to make that switch?
Correct.
ooh, I mean, if they were in like 2 or 3 years, I would think Tyr makes a claim. I would do that instead of, because they'd be far enough in. I would assume if you're 2 or 3 years in, how far are we in? 3 to 4. So you guys
Yeah.
would have been at least 10th level
Sure.
by then, and like at that point, you've got a little notoriety. Like you've got some good stuff, and I think at that point, Tyr's like, "Yeah, cleric, you're now my champion." It's a
Sure,
conversation, and he makes a claim.
I mean, my guess is if you're making the switch, you're probably playing the character as a paladin anyway. You're probably,
Most likely,
you're just a heavy hitting,
less smite. A lot less
less
smiting.
smite. But that's what you get granted to you is the ability to smite.
Right.
Then. So
Or it's like, do you just multi-class?
you could.
Yeah.
That's certainly an option. Because
Kind of a
you would have
weaker version of it potentially.
I guess the biggest benefit there is you would have more healing powers as a multi-class cleric
Oh,
paladin,
yeah.
which could be interesting.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think there's lots of things to feel through there. At the end of the day, for this question, do it however you want. It really doesn't matter. But I think there's other things to think through. That's the
I don't think there's anything wrong with that plan. I think it's a
No.
good plan, and then would give them, a chance to develop that character too, or like lean into basically turning paladin, right? Like through those waves of enemies or whatever that is. I think that could work out too.
Or this could also be an entire character arc.
True.
More than just a
Totally,
one.
yeah.
That's
or
true.
one
Maybe
thing.
they like prove
would be-
themselves to Tyr, and then at the end of the whole thing, Tyr's like, "Yes."
I guess it depends on how bad you want to be a paladin. Like, do you really want to wait till the end, or do you just not grant them the ability to change, and then that's the goal for the end?
Ooh,
So that's something that could be.
ooh, I
I don't
like
know.
it.
Sorry, we gave you more homework.
He's coming out with us on a Monday afternoon.
Oh my gosh. That's a different story for a different day. Next question, another cleric paladin question here that popped
Ooh.
up. So my DM suggested my war cleric also become a paladin. So speaking of multi-classing, now I want to take a feat, but I don't know if I should pick sentinel or great weapon master feat. I think both are great for my character. What would you do? Funny thing is, I have had this. I had to go through this as well. It's hard because great weapon doesn't give you always what you think it's going to give you. So basically the first thing it gives you is if you score a crit hit with a melee weapon or you reduce a creature down to 0 hit points, you can basically make another attack, which is whatever, right? That's one extra attack. The other benefit the Great Weapon Master gives you is you can take I think it's a -5 penalty to the roll. If you still succeed on the roll, you automatically get 10 more damage. So if you're already a paladin that's dealing 40 damage, you're all of a sudden dealing 50 damage. The Sentinel feat, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, well, my initial thought, this I feel like depends on your party,
Ooh, sure.
because you may not have a need to even think about taking Great Weapon Mastery.
That's true. I mean, personally, I wouldn't take it anyway. I don't think there's enough benefit with Great Weapon Master.
A paladin is a fighting class, yes, but it's also a support class, and like Sentinel leans into that.
Yes.
Kind of both, like
Right. I mean, they're similar because you get essentially the same effect with the Sentinel feat, because if you're making a melee, the difference is with Sentinel is if you're within 5 feet of an enemy and they attack somebody else, you get to make an opportunity attack. So it's not a full attack necessarily, but you at least get to swing. So you still get that benefit of swinging at somebody when it's not necessarily your turn.
And if you hit with that, then their speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn, so they can't like continue to run away. And with that Sentinel feat, you get an ability score increase. Either your strength or your dex, you get a bump by 1. So you're getting it.
Sentinel feat?
Yeah, I'm reading from the newest, whatever, 2024.
Oh, I think. Yeah,
Okay. I was like,
that's
that's not
an
how
addition.
I've been.
It's
playing
even
with that.
juiced. That's what I mean. Like, there's no reason not to take Sentinel now because it's juiced in 24.
Can I upgrade mine?
No, no, you cannot.
So full disclosure, I probably forget to do it half the time anyway, unless I'm like really thinking about it. Because like all of us, you can do so many things when you get above level 12 that it's like. I feel like I spend 5 minutes planning out my attack because I don't want to forget something, especially if it's a solid enemy. I don't want to forget something that could deal some extra damage.
And it's like, hey, I remember a thing on my character sheet, but I don't remember what section's it in. Scroll.
So, case in point on that, not to get too far off track here, was that one of the things Thorin can do as a paladin, it's part of his like channel divinity thing, is like he has like a special spell that would allow everybody else within that aura to cast an additional 5 radiant damage on every attack that they make.
Every attack?
Yep, for a minute. So basically the whole run of a combat,
Jeez.
they would get to add that. So think of, Everdash using his flailed katana.
I mean, if you come
Silver
after
Skull
Everdash in the initiative order, you may as well not plan out your turn.
That is no shit.
Sorry, Matt.
That is no shit.
You could just deal so much damage. It's ridiculous.
So I guess I didn't realize that they had upped that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty damn cool too.
Agreed. So I would pick Sentinel.
Yeah, that's how I was leaning anyway, and I didn't even know about that.
It says
so.
I can increase my dex. You better believe I'm going to take Sentinel. Sorry. Wrong class.
Okay, one last question, and then I think that's about good for one night. Here we go. Just got into a debate with one of my players about the fact that no, your 6th level artificer cannot defeat the god of death and chaos in one battle. I don't care if he only has 5,000 followers and ascended 150 years ago. He is a god, all capital letters. This is the same player who tried to take over DMing a few sessions ago, and he's defending his opinion fiercely. My entire world is homebrewed, including the deities, and I incorporated the idea that deities become more or less powerful depending on how many followers that they have. Also a very similar Percy Jackson type rule. This particular deity is an ascended archdemon. Not really a question in here, just more of what thoughts do you have on this? I tend to agree with him.
So what was it? The artificer wanted to defeat God?
The artificer is a level 6. He thinks he can take down a god in a one-on-one battle at level 6.
One-on-one battle?
It says one-on-one.
I mean, you can try.
No.
Yep.
This sounds like a great opportunity to wipe that player off of the map. That's what I think.
I think this is a great opportunity for a DM to say, hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, you can make that god however powerful you want, so...
No, you guys are level 15 characters, and I wouldn't let one of you take on a god as a single entity. Maybe as a group, and I'd probably wipe you, but...
Yeah,
try.
Who was the god? Who was the god in the dream that tried to take us out?
Inagu. Yeah, I know. I'm already thinking that through, okay? But it wasn't his full power.
Zerial had to intervene on his behalf early, otherwise we were going to wipe his shit off the map.
Exactly. Inagu. Demon Lord. Demon.
Fair.
Not devil.
I'm not going to hear the end of that one.
Nope.
What thoughts do you have, Brett? You look very inquisitive over
I'm
there.
trying to figure out where the player's coming at from this to try to justify this.
I think even if you weakened it down as like it being down to a demigod, you could still say you can try, but I still don't think that I'd let that character win.
Sure.
Maybe make it close, but
I think kind of the point is he's trying to establish that this person has had some not positive interactions with him, especially since he tried to take over DMing. So I think this is just enough.
That's a hard situation too, though, because if you do like agree to the one-on-one battle and then you're just kind of flying by the cuff, and that person who's trying to take over DMing is like a rules lawyer, like that's not going to go well either. But I
have a feeling this is not a D&D discussion. This is
that's fair.
There's something else.
Yeah.
There's undertones, aren't there?
Yeah.
Maybe this person shouldn't be at your table, and you may want to reconsider.
You need to have some conversations.
Yeah.
Maybe that person
work
needs to
this
go
out.
DM their own table. Possibly.
Sure.
Yeah.
And let that party take on gods, and then he wipes them out because
He is God.
He is God. Yeah, that's right. Any other thoughts or questions you guys have maybe come across before we get out of here? Out in the wild? I don't know if you've heard.
Ooh, what are some good questions for us?
I'm giving you an open
I told you,
invitation
I didn't
here.
have time to do this today. It came to mind today, but I didn't have time to prep it.
We'll have to save it for next time.
Yeah, he'll be in the
We'll
next
we'll
one.
do that next time. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Bards and Barrels. You can listen to past episodes of the show anywhere podcasts can be found. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky Social, and YouTube at Bards and Barrels. We'll see you soon.